Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's wonderful to have all of you here tonight. My name is Steve Pufall. I'm the superintendent of the school district of Janesville, and I'm just going to do a couple of quick remarks, and then I'm going to turn the program over to our host for the evening, Tim Elliott, in just a couple of minutes. First of all, I'd like to thank all of you for being here. This is a first-time event, and to have this kind of a turnout for a first-time event really speaks volumes about the care and giving of the community. Bags of Hope, as you all know, is a project that the district's been involved with for a long time, that it took over from GM when the plant closed. And it's a way for the school district to really give back to the community that gives so much to us each and every day. And I think about the word treasure, and oftentimes, we think about what is our definition of treasure, and so often we think about things like money or material possessions of some sort, or in days gone by, maybe gold and silver. But I think of the word love in relationship to treasure. And if you measure treasure in units of love, then we really have a rich opportunity to live a life well lived. And so I'm excited to have all of you here tonight, because Bags of Hope is really all about love, and it's all about treasure. It's all about recognizing that everyone in our community has value, and it's about recognizing that everybody's life isn't one joyful, positive trend line, and that all of us at different times have our ups and downs, and that when we can come together as a community to support one another when anyone happens to be having one of those dips, then that makes Janesville the kind of place that all of us really want to be part of. And so thank you tonight for being here, for sharing your love for one another and for our community. It's what makes our community special. We've had the chef here today working with our kids, and it was a really exciting opportunity for them. He was both at Craig and Parker, and so we're really excited about the show tonight. We've got some great eats for all of you. Before I pass the baton on, though, I have to get Denise out here, and Denise Jensen planned this whole event right here. Denise. This is Denise's brainchild, and she works quietly behind the scenes on projects like this and so many others that make our community a better place. And so Denise, bless you and thank you for the great work that you do every night. So without further ado, I want to introduce somebody that's familiar, I think, to all of us. One of our hometown heroes. We're really excited to have Tim Elliott here hosting tonight. You should all be grateful for that, because if Tim couldn't have come, you probably would have been stuck with me all night. So, Tim, we're really excited to have you back home, and I had a chance to meet your mom and dad, and they're here tonight, and so give them a shout out, everybody, please.
All right.
It's really great to turn the TV on every morning and get that fresh start to the day and that fresh perspective, and to have it from somebody local that we know and love and trust. And so, Tim, without further ado, let me turn the mic over to you. Thank you, everybody.
I'm actually wearing a mic already.
You're good.
I'm fancy, so
right.
I don't know why, but this mic is nicer than the ones they give me at work too, by the way. Yes, thank you so much for having me here tonight. What a beautiful venue, beautiful turnout here. I think you guys should give yourselves a round of applause, by the way, for all making it out here on this Thursday night. What a great time so far I'm having, and I know everyone else is too. As Steve said, thank you, Steve. I work for NBC 15. I'm the morning show anchor up there in Madison. Anybody watch the morning show? Thanks, Mom. I heard her. Yep, she was loud and clear. So yeah, thanks for everyone coming up to me and saying, we watch you every morning. That means so much to us. I was just telling someone tonight, I was at the grocery store. I just woke up from a nap, had sweats on, my hair was all messed up, and some little old lady came up to me and said, "I watch you every morning. Can I have a hug?" And I said, "No, get away from me." No, I gave her a hug. It was very nice, though. So we love hearing stuff like that, so thank you so much. And exactly what Steve said, too, about Denise Jensen here tonight, setting this all up and inviting me and having this huge thing out here tonight. So cool. Round of applause for her once again. What a great job organizing this huge event. So thank you for that. And I can't wait to you guys to meet Ace, by the way. I got some time to spend with him back there a few minutes before the program started. What a good guy. He's a talented guy. If you didn't catch him on the Today Show, it was about a month ago, right? So it was Thursday night, or Thursday morning, because it was Packers-Bears, kickoff of, go Pack, go, that's right. It was the kickoff of the 100th NFL season. So Ace went head-to-head with a chef from Illinois, and he made his signature grilled cheese with Carson Daly. And Ace, I know they said on the show, oh, it's a tie, but everybody knows who won that. And it was you, for sure. Absolutely. And then everybody knows who won the Packers-Bears game too, right? That's right. Any Bears fans out there? Oh, we got a couple. All right, Steve kind of touched on this too, just about kind of what this program's all about, delivering bags of hope. When Denise asked me to do this, she sent me all this literature and articles, and it was really cool to read about the history of this and how the school district took it over from GM and UAW back in 2008 when the plant closed. I know that affected a lot of people, affected my family. Dad worked there for a long time. And how the need for something like this kind of grew over the years, in the past 11 years. So this is the 11th annual food delivery event here for Bags of Hope. And the number kind of jumped out at me too. 350 families are helped by this program over that 2-week winter break period for those students that are on the free or reduced lunch. And in addition to that, 50 senior citizens as well, which is just amazing to actually have that kind of help during those cold winter weeks. I know we got a video that we want to show about the event, so we're going to show that right now. Be over here.
You don't know how much this means to me and to everybody. It's just, it's pretty much a lifesaver for some of us.
Bags of Hope, they help you with groceries around the holiday, Christmas, Thanksgiving. We got help.
The schools here in Janesville come and distribute the food every December. It's almost like Christmas morning. You don't know what you're going to get.
What does receiving Bags of Hope mean to you?
It means a lot to me. I don't go grocery shopping. I can't afford it.
This year was extra for me. I was in the hospital and I almost died, so around Thanksgiving I didn't get to spend time with my family, but the food was still able to be there. I was out of work for a month, so it helped us be able to still celebrate, still come together as a family.
It means somebody cares enough to make sure that I have food.
If you could describe the day that everyone here receives their Bags of Hope, what is that day like for everyone?
It's like we've won the Publishers Clearinghouse, what is it now, $50 million or something?
And they came to the door, and the bags kept coming and I couldn't believe it. What the heck is this? You know? And it was unbelievable, everything that you got.
My son also helps bag the stuff for Bags of Hope, so he gets to see the other side of it also because of football. So it's good for everybody all around, not just people receiving, but people giving. And you get to meet the people that bring the stuff also, and some of them are just awesome, and you get to hear their stories, they get to hear yours.
It's really a rewarding experience to be able to deliver food to people that need it during the holidays.
I'm really here because I like to volunteer and help the community, especially during the holidays. It's really nice to be able to give food to people in need.
If you could say something to the organizers and the volunteers of Bags of Hope, what would you say to those people?
I would say thank you, thank you, thank you. Bless you, and I'll certainly say a prayer for you.
Besides a great big thank you,
I would say thank you so much. You don't know how much this means to me and to everybody.
But everybody appreciates everything you do. Kudos to all of you for caring enough to go out there and do this for everybody.
I think it's a job well done.
Yeah, so that kind of puts a face to what we're doing here tonight. That one soundbite of the woman saying, I don't go grocery shopping because I can't afford it, that kind of stuck with me after watching that video. That's sad to hear, but that's why we're here, right? At the same time. All right, so I'm going to go through some kind of logistics here tonight, too, about what's going on over there at the tables and what ACE is going to be doing. So if you guys have seen, you have these vouchers in front of you, these volunteer forms. They're like these where you can fill out how much you want to donate or if you want to volunteer. Those you can fill out and then drop them off out there in the lobby. There's a box out there on your way out tonight if you'd like to do that, or just any time during the program, feel free to do that. Also, there's a silent auction happening over here if you had a chance to go check out the wonderful items over here, along with the raffle tickets for those items over there. She's got them right there. There's Chris right there. And we will draw for those 8:45, right? 8:45 is when we're going to draw for those for the prize winners there. If you also want to take a look in your program, too, there's a lot of great sponsors that are a part of this year. So if you don't mind taking a look at those, I think they put my mug at the bottom of that page, too, somewhere. Thank you for that, Denise. But yeah, all the great sponsors that are involved as well. And gift bags, too. Those gift bags, festival food coupons are there. Festival icon sale going on now. $1 or $5 icon proceeds will go directly towards delivering bags of hope as well. So that's also awesome. We have 4 prizes to give away as well tonight. So you're going to reach into your bag, right? And if you have, everyone get your bags out. Who has a purple school district earbud, like headphones? Purple school district earbud. All right, we got a winner. You have won a set of 4 placemats and napkins. Congratulations. All right, it's not over yet. 3 more items. We are looking for a pizza cutter. Who's got the pizza cutter? Oh, we got one in the back. All right. Pizza cutter. You have won an autographed cookbook. Ooh. And don't worry, by the way, I have off tomorrow. I don't have to go to bed early. Yeah. 3 Fridays in a row I've had off. Remember I said I wrote it in my contract that I could take off any Friday I wanted, so I don't have to go to bed early tonight, so I can stay up till like way past my bedtime, like 9:30 tonight. It's going to be wild. All right, the next item that you should have, or hopefully have in your bag, a school district flash drive. It's small. All right, we got a winner. You ready for your prize? You have won a facial from Simply You Skincare. All right. All right, and the final item is a black box with a keychain light. Black box with a keychain light. I guess it goes to me. Anybody? Is it small? What's in there? Just dump it on the floor. It's like a scavenger hunt. It's a good prize, too. Should I tell you what it is? It's a gift basket from the Diamond Center. It might be in my bag. Is it in my bag? I think that's my bag. That's my bag. Denise, I think that's my bag. I know. I don't want it. Okay. All right, in the meantime, we're going to do one more kind of cool giveaway. I'm sure you've all been wondering what this is for. Ooh. So this is called, we're calling this the best seats in the house, because obviously Ace is going to be operating right here. So, some very lucky people, 6 of you, will be sitting right here watching Ace, and you will be getting, this is, by the way, sponsored by Target. You get a $25 gift card to Target, and you get to taste test Ace's food. That's some good stuff. So what I'm going to need everyone to do right now is look under your seats. If you have a white cloth, it's in the bag. Oh, I'm sorry. It's in the bag. I was told it was under your seat. I'm sorry. It's in your bag. I feel, yeah. I feel like Oprah. White cloth? Yep. All right. So if you have a white cloth, you can choose one other person to come up here and sit with you. Woo! Come on up. You want some help? Yep. All right, good looking crew up here. This is like VIP. Yeah. All right, so the man we're all here to see, of course, is Ace Champion, right? Round of applause for Ace. Now, apparently you can catch his show on Channel 3, WISC, at 5 p.m. on Sundays. You have my permission to watch that channel one time during the week, and that is the only time you can watch Channel 3, Ace, is at 5 p.m. on Sundays to watch Ace. I told you about his Today Show escapade. That was awesome back in September. So Ace is from Louisiana originally, and you moved here, what, like 15 years ago, Ace?
Yes, sir.
He specializes in the Creole Cajun food that is so tasty. He's got 20 years of culinary experience. He's a personal chef, executive chef, certified meat cutter. Mm-hmm. That sounds awesome.
There you go.
Event coordinator, motivational speaker, you name it. He's also won a whole bunch of awards, including the Grill Cheese Championship back in 2018.
Yes, sir.
Woo! He's the man. He's the reason you're here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for Ace Champion.
Thank you so much. Maybe one day I'll cross over to NBC.
Yeah.
We'll see. Awesome. Can everybody, hold on, I'm gonna make sure my mic's on. Everybody hear me okay? Awesome. Hey, I'll take it. Keep it coming, keep it coming. All right. Came all the way from Green Bay. Awesome. Truly honored to be down. This is my first time in Jamesville, and I mean, I had gift baskets waiting on me in the hotel. They took me out to a steak dinner. I'm going through the gift basket. I'm like, oh, all this great stuff. There was one item in there, Denise, that I was like, oh my God, did they really put this in there? It was suntan lotion. I'll have to donate that to somebody tonight. So I know you guys are probably wondering, it's funny, every time I meet a Wisconsinite, the first thing that comes out their mouth is, what the heck are you doing in Wisconsin? Like, I don't belong here. No, don't be sorry. I got a cooking show. It's all good. It's all good. So I moved up here probably, I said, about 2003. I'm a native of Louisiana. At the time, I was riding my bicycle. I did not have a vehicle at the time, and I was like 27 years old trying to feed my kids and working 7 days a week, and I had some friends that ironically found me after 15 years and said, dude, you should bring your Creole to Green Bay. They're not doing Cajun. They're not even trying to do it. So I had nothing to lose. I packed my bags. I came up here, and let me tell you, talk about culture shock. Oh my God. So of course they sent me all the beautiful pictures of Door County, you know, so I'm like, oh, this is all great. Didn't tell me about the winters, they just said it was cold. So here I am bringing my bike, and funny story is, before I go into that story, be honest, how many people thought I was a Packer player who did not see my thing? Yes, I know it. I'm 42 years old, I'm 5'10", are you kidding me? But I'll take that. It could be worse. I've been called a lot worse than an NFL football player. So my first experience, all my friends took me out, they're like, you gotta go to the bars, right? Because it's, I guess Wisconsin like is a boozer, right? Yeah, I guess so. So they took me out to the bars and everyone's just like, hey, how's it going? Come on over here, I'll buy you a beer. I'm like, wow, these Wisconsinites are freaking awesome, right? So then they asked me the daunting question, so what position do you play? So I say, fry cook, right? Because I was a fry cook at the time. They were actually pretty pissed. They were like, oh no, he's not a Packer player, he's just a regular black guy, let me tell you. But I took it in stride and I loved it. How many entrepreneurs in the house today? I know it's the school district, I know, shouldn't be talking about entrepreneurship. But I will tell you, if you're not being an entrepreneur, you should still try and live your dream. And what I mean by that is you can still work your full-time job, but you can do what you love on the side. I can't stress how healthy that is for the human body to wake up in the morning, even if it's one day a week on the weekend, and just kind of just do what you love to do. It really is humbling, and it's kind of like a meditation. Cooking is one of the things that I truly, truly love to do. I got put on a really hard path because most restaurants, they kind of beat you down. You really don't get paid much. It's not really what you would think a chef would have to experience. And it's funny stories, I worked the industry for about 10 years. I was a meat cutter at Cops for about 5 years. And then I said at 34 years old, I got to put myself through culinary arts school. I said, if I can graduate with a culinary degree, they'll be beating my door down. And this is me chasing my path. So I go to culinary arts school, hardest thing ever, because remember, I'm a native of Louisiana. I didn't have a cell phone until I was 30. This is no joke. I told this to the high school kids. They just thought it was a hoot, you know. Even Facebook, they're like, you know, Facebook's for old people. We got Snapchat and Twitter now. I'm like, okay, let me get on board. So I put myself through culinary arts school, and the first day in cooking class, everyone was asking, what do you want to be out of your degree? 95% of them wanted to own their own restaurant. When the chef told me what it takes to own a restaurant, I mean, we're talking investment, waiting 2 years. I can't wait 2 years. I need money now, like today. So this bright idea popped into my head, why don't you be a celebrity cooking show host? Then someone else will open up a restaurant in your name, like Chef Ramsay and all of them, and then you'll have your restaurant. So I raised my hand, I said, I want to be a celebrity cooking show host. Every single person, including the teacher, laughed. I mean, and it wasn't like, good for you. I mean, they were almost on the floor. Like, who the heck is this guy from Louisiana trying to be, like, they thought I was being cocky. I'm like, no, that's really my dream. So I'm a firm believer that if you speak into existence what you want to have happen, it has no choice but to show up if you truly, truly believe in it. So I walked around, I told everybody, yeah, I'm going to teach cooking classes. I'm going to record my show, send it to the Food Network. They're going to call me. I'm going to be on there. Yeah, right? Well, they never called. That's okay, though, because now I understand that they would have controlled me, and I want full control. Because all this that we're doing right now, me at Carter and Parker School, all this is going to be infused in my cooking show. So all the kids and all you guys will get to see glimpses of this on my actual cooking show. Excuse me. So chasing this dream, I go and I'm like, okay, well, what am I going to do now? And that's what I'd like to tell people is in life, you're going to get these challenges where you're going to feel like you've hit that brick wall and you're like, what am I going to do now? I feel like I've tried everything. Something came to me in a little whisper, I don't know who it was, and said, you need to get out of the restaurants. So I actually pulled myself out of the restaurants and I worked at a nursing home for 1.5 years. Here I am, Mr. Chef Man, ace champion, 2-year culinary degree, 20 years experience, and I end up at a nursing home. Most humbling experience I've ever had in my life. And the nursing people, they loved me. You know, simply because I didn't make chicken noodle soup out of the can, I made chicken noodle soup fresh. And they really, really loved that. And what I did is I took off every Wednesday. Every Wednesday I used all my PTO, and eventually I was able to drop down to part-time and then casual call. And you know, once I dropped down to 1 day a week at a nursing home, most of the employees are depressed. So they're like, hey, she gotta go. You're too happy for us. You know, we can't have you up in here living your dream amongst us, right? So they gave me the boot, they kicked me out. And that was 5 years ago, and that's when I really started my journey to be 100% self-employed, calling my own shots. So I'm walking and I'm like, okay, I'm teaching cooking classes. I got to figure out how am I going to get myself on TV. No one would produce me. They were like, who are you? You're not a Packer player, so we're not going to endorse you. So it's like, all right, that's cool. And I eventually ended up falling onto another production team, another cooking show host, which I won't say because they're a conflict of interest, so we can keep that quiet. And they ran me for about 12 episodes out of 13. And this is another step chasing their dream. I'm like, finally, I got my own cooking show. I'm living my dream. Episode 12, the guy cut my LLC, pulled out the bank account, said I can no longer produce you because you won't allow me to put you in his back pocket. He didn't say that, but I know that's what he was thinking. You know, he wanted full control over me, and I refused to do that. So I cried for about 2 hours, but I'm a firm believer that what I think, I attract. So I wanted to make sure that I'm not negative. So I kept on thinking, and it was actually a blessing in disguise. I ended up getting the #1 production team in Wisconsin. I kid you not. They took my show on because they believed in my story. I had a budget of about $1,200 an episode when they're charging $10,000 an episode. They took me on, and therefore I rebranded to Cook Like a Champion. This was in 2016. So that same person that cut the LLC, he also kicked me off the 8 stations that I was on. So now I have 0 stations. They don't want me on the station. Don't worry, the show gets better. I'll tell you. They don't want me on the station. But the determination is I won't let anything stop me. I mean, if the universe does not want me to have it, it just won't work. So I started calling up every individual station, and eventually I was on one. Actually, Janesville, Madison, the station I was telling you about, that was my first station that actually called me. NBC didn't call me, so I was like, all right, whatever, I'm going over there, you know? And I was able to keep going, and I found myself finding networks. So I was like, oh, if I find networks, then I can be on multiple stations. So I went literally from one station, and here to date, I'm now on over 175 stations. And these are broadcasting. I always tell people that, and they're like, oh, what YouTube channel are you on? I'm like, no, man, this is like broadcasting, TV, over the air, cable network. I'm on Roku, Fire Stick. I just signed a contract with a big, huge Caribbean network channel. So I'm in 32 Caribbean islands. They're already trying to invite me over to Bay Boat. Help me out, this is Louisiana, Bay Berdas, yeah. My Louisiana's coming out right now. They want to invite me over there to be the chef at a rum festival. And I'm like, well, let me think about that. Yeah, I can do that. I can do that. Yes, yeah. So that's kind of my story in a nutshell tonight. These lovely people that are up here, they're going to get a chance to kind of test out some of the food. Please don't judge me. You know, it's all good. You know, thou shalt not judge. It's one of the 10 Commandments. And basically, it's all Creole based. Anybody familiar with New Orleans food? For those of you guys that don't know about New Orleans, it's South African, Indian, French, and Spanish all infusing together. So if you love any of those, you're going to love New Orleans. Of course, I'm in Wisconsin, so I got to put a little cheese in it sometimes, you know. Put a little beer in there and make it Wisconsin. So I'm just going to share one quick thing, a couple of tips, and then I'm going to jump right into my demo. This is an open concept. If you guys have any questions, feel free to raise your hand. Don't be like I love Parker and Craig, but don't be like the kids. I say, don't raise your hand. They just spit it out, but they had a great time. Oh, speaking of that, so I went to Parker and I went to Carter this morning. I was able to teach. Oh, shoot. What did I say? Oh, sorry. Good things I got Janesville School District here to correct me on that. So I was able to go and actually teach these young kids. They were all the way from 9th grade all the way up to 12th grade. I taught them knife skills. I taught them how to make stir fry. And a lot of them were shy, so I taught them how to face their fear. I actually used the boogeyman story. I'm like, remember when you guys used to be scared of the boogeyman? And then you got older and then you realized it wasn't afraid no more. It's like if you walk through your fears, the fears never exist anymore. They're only stopping you if you don't allow yourself to get through it. So a couple of techniques that I want to share with you, and then I'll jump right in it. One of them literally changed my life. And I'll share this with you. It's a secret. Literally, I believe that this particular tip will make you a better cook just like that. Who wouldn't want to be a better cook just like that? I'm going to share my knowledge with you guys, and I'm not even going to charge you. Just make sure you donate a little bit to the cause. So anybody ever seen the documentary The Secret? I would recommend, if you have Hulu, Netflix, it's on YouTube, watch it. It literally changed my life. I grew up very poor in Louisiana. I always had that negative attitude, like I didn't grow up with a rich parent, so therefore I have nothing to inherit. I'm always going to be riding this bike. I'm working 7 days a week. This is just my life. I always said what I didn't have and what I didn't want to have happen. So The technique that I want to share with you is called the law of attraction. Anybody ever heard of that before? Yes. One over there. I'll take that one hand clap all day. So apparently there's multiple laws in the universe. Now, when we're in school, we get taught about the law of gravity, right? You jump off a building, gonna hit the ground, might not make it. You know, that's the only law I've ever heard. Then they started talking to me and teaching me about energy. Now, growing up in Louisiana, the only energy I knew was, you know, the thing you plug into the wall and you get your energy to power your TV. I had no idea about this universal energy. So the law of attraction states that what I constantly think about in my mind, I literally attract into myself. That was so eye-opening to me because I started to reflect over the years, and a lot of things that I used to blame on somebody else, I had to look myself, like Michael Jackson said, I'm asking the man in the mirror. I looked in the mirror and I didn't like what I see. I realized that a lot of the things that happened to me was literally my fault. Hardest thing I ever could have did before, because the mind is definitely the hardest thing to control, definitely. And so I started to change my thought, and it's a very, very hard thing. It's almost like a tennis match. As soon as you start to think something negative, you got to catch it right away. Because as soon as you let that just roam and roam and roam, all of a sudden it goes from your mind, it gets into your body. Now all of a sudden you're aggravated. Anybody ever pissed themselves off before? No apparent reason. You're just sitting there thinking and you're just mad. And it's like, why are you so mad, you know? Like, don't do that. There's enough people around to piss you off, I'm just saying. So that was so humbling because I started checking myself as soon as that negative thought came in. And a negative thought doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, oh, I'm bad at this. It can be as simple as I don't have. I learned that because the law of attraction states that every time I say I do or I don't, it makes a creation. So every time I was saying I can't, I was actually creating that. So instead of saying I don't have enough money to do that, I said, how do I do that? You know, I have my spice guy back there, Gabe. He's from Polar Kitchen right here in Milwaukee. He's got my 2 spices, and I'm kind of plugging you a little bit, but you know, really there's a story behind that because 5 years ago, I tried my hardest to get my own spice because every chef has to have their own spices, right? Wanted to be like Emeril Lagasse, Paula Deen, and all of them. I tried so hard, I even bought the software and was making my own labels. And then they told me, oh yeah, we'll get your spices for about 10 grand. I'm like, yeah, well, we can't do that. So, but 5 years later, this guy calls me up out of the blue and is like, hey, I need a New Orleans chef to test out my New Orleans spices. Sure, come on down. And you know, first thing I said, how you feel about putting my face on that, you know? And he bit. Let's give him a hand clap. Yes. So now I have my own spices. I have a New Orleans blend, a Jamaican jerk blend, and because I'm in Wisconsin, right, I can't be having like pins and stuff like that. So I actually have 2 wines, Peach on the Beach, Cabernet Sauvignon. I have my own beer at one of the breweries called Champion Beer. I have a whole slew of products. I've written 2 books, and all this had nothing really to do with anybody else because I had to make a choice. Hey, Ace, it's me and you. You know, and the creation that created me, and that's about it. So I stopped depending on everybody else. And as soon as I started doing that, change started to happen. So that's what I challenge you guys. If you guys have a passion for something, or if you have a dream for something, don't expect anyone to give it to you. Don't expect anyone to even give you advice. You know, a lot of times, man, ask that, what's that woman on the internet? Siri. Ask Siri. She'll tell you anything you need to know, and she'll hook you up just like that. So that's kind of my story in a nutshell. I don't mean to, you know, break you down. I hope that kind of inspired you a little bit because it's very, very important as a human that you do what you love. It literally is therapy. Try it. How many people actually like to cook in the kitchen? That's amazing. That's amazing. Cooking is not only therapy, and when you're cooking, feel good about it. Go pour your night. You know, I know it's Wisconsin. Go pour your favorite cocktail. Pour your glass of wine. Turn on the music. Relax. Don't worry about, oh, well, he's probably not going to eat this because I'm not a good cook. And if something goes wrong, don't go on Facebook. I see it all the time. Boo-hoo-hoo, I made a bad meatloaf and, you know, don't do that. Because remember, you're attracting more of that. So instead, when I make a mistake, I write it down. My first cooking classes, I probably made 10 mistakes. I tried to do family style. 5 people never ate. It was bad. I tried to have a sous chef. He got so caught up in me talking, chicken got burnt. I now have a 12,000 BTU stove, but I had them little gas burners that I bought at the Goodwill. Couldn't boil water. So literally 12 things went wrong, and instead of me posting it and pouting about it, I went home and I wrote down everything I did wrong, and the very next class, it was flawless. And you all have that same gift and that power. So don't dwell on your mistake. Mistakes is part of the process. You know, remember when you were in high school? Not at Craig or Parker, because you know they don't get bad grades over there. You know what I'm saying? But when you get a bad grade, failure does not make you a failure. That just means you don't know enough to get to the next level. As soon as you get to the next level, then the next step. Martin Luther King said it best. You don't have to see the whole staircase. You just have to take the first step. So many times, thank you. I'll take that. And you'll be surprised when you take the first step, all of a sudden the next step comes. And then you take that step, and then the next step comes. And then before you know it, you're at the top of the stairs and you're ready to go. Capiche? All right. Thank you. So, oh shoot. Can somebody please find me a lighter? Sorry. And that's another lesson about cooking. There's always going to be something that's not perfectly right. But like I said, don't dwell on it. Figure out a way to fix it. Even when you make mistakes, I've burnt even some of my cooking shows, I've been on live TV, and I literally mess up on live TV, but I don't let them know. So I'm always thinking, how do I fix this? How do I fix this? And as long as you think, how do you fix it? Something will come. If it doesn't come, just keep watching my show. And then you'll become a better cook, right? Yeah. All right. So the first thing, what we're going to make, the first dish is jambalaya. Now, traditional jambalaya in Louisiana, they put everything in a pot, they bake it, and then 40 minutes later, your jambalaya is done. Thank you. When I became a chef, they taught me the lovely thing about al dente. Everybody know about al dente? That means no mush. Mush is not good. So I learned that vegetables, which I didn't know that, because if you ever had Louisiana cooking, you had collard greens, they cook it. I mean, they cook it. Like my mom's like, burn the bacon. I'm like, why would you want to burn the bacon? Like, you know, like they cook. And so another concept came and I said, well, if I want everything to be perfect, I need to cook it all separate, because there's no way the peppers are going to cook perfectly if I cook them for 40 minutes. So we make the right rice separate, we cook it until it's perfect, and we know to taste our food, right? And then once that's done, then we cook our peppers, cook that perfect, and then we cook our sausage, and we cook that perfect too as well. Grab one of my seasoning. Let me see, what should I use? Oh yeah, the one with my face on it. Might as well use that. I'll take that. So the wild rice, you can just buy at your local store. You can always cook it with some chicken broth, and that's going to add a lot of flavor. I added some of the New Orleans Ace blend. No, any other Cajun season will not work, just saying. And then you cook that, and what I learned about cooking is you kind of almost want to undercook everything that you do. Because if you cook it perfect, you don't leave room for carryover cooking. Say that with me, carryover cooking. I was doing that at Craig this morning. It was like, all right, come on now, all together now. People don't realize that, you know, when Grandma made her casserole, she put it on the stove. Well, it's still warm and cooking for about 30 minutes. And you want to make sure that you undercook it, because you might want to reheat it later. So if I were cooking for a large crowd, I'd make the rice, cool it off, put it in a Ziploc bag, make all my peppers, put it in a Ziploc bag. Then when my guests are coming, put it on a sheet pan, throw it in the oven at 300, let it warm up. Never try and cook everything all at once. It's a nightmare. It is. So as you guys see, I have all my ingredients all laid out. Anybody know what that's called? Mise en place. Fancy French word that means I got my together. I didn't want to say it, but you know, that's all that means. Because this and cooking are two separate things. You don't want to cook and prep at the same time. Bad news bears, no point intended, Bears fan out there. Just saying. All right, so I have my rice all done already. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put that on a sheet pan. I have my chicken already done, I cut that up. And the beautiful thing about jambalaya is you can put whatever meat you wanna put in it. Now, if you put a brat in it, that's kinda, I guess you could do it, you know. Just don't post it and tag me in it, you know. Yeah, please don't. All right, I didn't teach her that. Okay. So I'm going to show you guys a little bit of Knife Skills 101. Everybody know this is a proper knife to use, right? If you're like my grandma, who in the house uses this little bitty joker right here? I call this the pecker knife. Really. My mom still uses it. I'm like, Mom, that's dangerous to peel a potato. You know we make potato peelers now. You don't have to use that. And besides, when you're cutting a bell pepper, you don't even have enough blade to get through it. So I always use your standard. I'm using a 10-inch blade, but an 8-inch blade works just fine. Proper way to hold it, 3 fingers are wrapped underneath the handle, index fingers on the blade, and your thumbs on the blade. So you're gripping it. If you're holding the knife like this, watch out, something's not, you got other plans going on over there. If you see it on TV, they put the knife on the finger top like that, it makes it really loose. When you grip it, it feels like an extension of your body. Anybody know what this is called in my left hand? The claw. Very good. Purpose of the claw is fingertips are good, right? We want to keep this. I was telling the high school kids, I'm like, you lose your fingertips, you know you can't text no more. I was like, oh, I better do the claw. I'm like, yeah. So we'll start off and we'll cut the bell pepper. So what I do with the bell pepper is I take my middle and my thumb and I slice down. I always tell people whenever you're cutting, you always want to go in a rocking motion. Imagine when you were little, you used to go down the slide, right? You didn't jump from the top and just hit the ground, right? But everybody wants to go straight down. So slice all the way through, pull it back, and then you take your fingertips and you just put it right up inside of it. You take your thumb right there and you just pop it out just like that. I did that at Carter. The guy was like, whoa, no way. I'm like, yeah, dude, it's not that serious, you know? So now what you want to do is just cut the edges off. Sorry, and I'm not talking about one school more than the other, you know, even though they were trash talking themselves pretty good. So take your hand and then you smash it. And then by smashing it, now the bell pepper lays flat, because if you don't, it's going to want to rock all around on you. So what I'm going to do is just make slices all the way through, just like so. As I'm cutting, I'm walking my fingers backwards. So essentially, in order to get diced, you have to slice it first, turn it at a 90-degree angle, slice it again. And then you get diced. And I kid you not, this is another tip. As you're cutting, tighten up your stomach muscles. Yeah. You won't get a six-pack, let me tell you. But it grounds you. It grounds you into that core area. And look at my body posture. I'm kind of down. I'm comfortable. I'm not standing straight up like a stick. That's very, very important. So we want a little color. So we'll do a red bell pepper. Do the same thing. Is there someone in the crowd that's just dying to come up here and get this chef knife in their hand? Don't make me do like I did at the schools. Oh, there she is. Oh, you can't point at it. That's what the kids were doing. That don't fly with me. That don't fly with me. I told them if you don't come up here, I'll pick you, and then you'll have to come up here. I'll wait until I get to an easier one, the celery, and then you guys can do that. How about that? And I will pick you, and you will come up here because it's a charity event, and it's for the kids, right? All right. Oh, shoot, good call. Hey, make sure you take the label off. She like, because I'm eating that, Ace. Yes, good catch, good catch. And I'm supposed to have an onion in here, but I don't see an onion. Oh my God, what do I do? Do I go on Facebook and pout about it? No, I just keep cooking, right? All right. So the last thing that I want to do, did you bring my, where's Denise at? Did you bring that blindfold? No? All right, so we'll save that one. So the next thing we'll do is our actual garlic. Anybody ever cut garlic before? Who uses the garlic press? I'll just do it ahead of time. The problem with the garlic press is you smash the garlic, you release all its natural juices, and you lose it all. You ever try to get garlic out them little holes? You gotta be pretty cheap to take a toothpick to that, right? But you lose it. So I like to cut. She's like, I do it. So you want to cut through it and then let the juices release in the skillet where it belongs. So I'm gonna slice this, turn it, slice it again, and then chop it. How many slices should I get out of a garlic? As many as I need a number. 4, 10. All right, who's gonna count for me? Anybody? Anybody want to count? Who's got all these teachers in here? You guys should be volunteering. All right. Ready? Yeah. No, I didn't even start it yet. But I'll take one. All right, ready? Go. And when it gets to what, I'm not done yet. When it gets to where it's close to your finger, fold it over. You have a little bit more room to work with. All right. 134. Turn it, slice it again. And then now I have a pile. Now I know you've seen on some of those cooking shows, Not Cook Like a Champion, right? They put their hand and they do that. You're missing 90% of the garlic. So what I do is I put it in a pile and I just chop straight through it. That way, every time I chop, I'm actually chopping through a pile of garlic instead of a little bit of garlic all spread everywhere. All right, we'll cut this one. You guys can do that too. You should have saw when I did the blindfold at the high school. I was like, all right, everyone say this with me. I will not do this at home. And I made sure to get it on camera too. So if you see anybody do that, you know I told them not to. Oh, thank you. And then we'll cut a little bit of sausage. So I'm using some Polish sausage. Any Polish sausage lovers in the house tonight? You mad because it's not a brat, I know. I was like, where's the Johnsonville at, Ace? Traditionally, you would use andouille sausage is a traditional staple. Now I can slice it like this, and then I'm gonna be like just like everybody else. And we don't wanna be like everybody else, right? But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slice that right in the middle. So I have two pieces, and I'm gonna slice it what they call bias. So I'm gonna cut it at an angle. So by me cutting at the angle, now I have these nice long strips, just like the Orientals do, right? They give you this bowl, you eat it, and then 10 minutes later you wonder why you're still hungry, right? Ancient Chinese secret. Yes, they fooled you because they gave you such a great presentation, you thought you got a lot, but you actually didn't. So we'll slice that just like that. Don't tell them I said that though. They'll be like, no food for you, Ace. All right, slice all the way through, and then we'll do the same thing. You see my motion? I was telling the kids, if you guys want to get good with your knife skills, go home and do this for 30 minutes a day. No, it sounds funny, but what that does is we all know about muscle memory, right? We do anything 100 times, that 101 time, all of a sudden, you're just cooking like a champion, right? Did you guys get that? A couple people. All right, cool. So the last thing that I'm gonna cut, and then all we're gonna do is just stir fry that up, mix it with the rice, and then my lovely guests are gonna get a chance to eat it in front of all you guys. She's like, that's us, that's us. So, can I get an assistant just to, oh, I knew that was gonna happen. Can I get an assistant just to come up here? You don't, oh my God. Camera people, are you guys good? All right, good. All I need you guys to do is hand me the product and hand me the knife so I don't cut myself. So who will be my lovely assistant? Come on down, man. Let's go right here. Front row. You, front row, get on up here. Let's give her a hand clap. Come on down. Anybody know what I'm going to do with this? Isn't that the Go Pack Go that they did? No, that's the Steelers. They do that. Titletown. So I'm going to show you guys just how important muscle memory is and how great the human body is. So come on over here. Come closer. No, don't try and sucker up to me now. So I just want to put this over your eyes lightly.
Okay.
Can you see anything?
No.
Okay, just want to make sure. I wasn't going to make you cut. No worries. So now I'm going to put this over my eyes and get on my right side. And then I'm going to do a blindfolded demonstration. Don't worry, you guys, I wouldn't do it if I couldn't do it, or would I? Ooh. So I'm going to blind myself, and this is so important. How many people visualize before they do anything? You know, it's very important. You know, if I'm going to go cook something, I'm visualizing what I want to do. I get a good roll. They call that visual motor rehearsal. Say it with me. Visual motor rehearsal. I'm rehearsing in my mind what I want to do before I do it. So as I'm cutting this, I'm actually imagining myself with the knife in my hand, with the celery, with my beautiful youngest sister. Oh, I didn't touch nothing wrong, did I? Okay, good. I don't know. And I'll share a story with you too. I had a stroke when I was 30. I'm actually 100% blind in my right eye. Not to make you guys any more nervous than you already are. But that just shows you how important muscle memory is, you know. Still need at least one good eye to get things done. So If you can hand me the knife, and like I told the kids at Parker, please make sure it's handle side in my hand and not the blade. No? This way. No. This way. And then I'll take the celery in my left hand, please. All right. And then, like I said, you want to kind of get down and dirty. Make sure you're as comfortable as possible when you're cutting. I'm visualizing myself what I want to do, and then we just start cutting. Walking my hands backward. I'm actually using all my senses. I'm using my sense of touch. I'm using my hearing. I'm using everything possible to make sure that, and I'm not thinking, oh my God, I hope I don't cut myself. Because what happens, law of attraction, if I think it, it happens, right? Just like that. Give my lovely assistant a hand clap. Isn't she lovely? Thank you very much. All right. So now we get to cooking. I got my handy lighter. Yep, we're good. So we're just going to add in my sausage. And sausage really has a lot of oil in it, so I really don't need to add any oil. If you want to add anything, you can add in a little bit of butter, something like that, and that always works out really, really well. Anybody ever made jambalaya in the house before? Super, super good. It's just jazzed up rice. It sounds fancy, but it really isn't. I learned that as a chef when I was becoming a chef. Some of the chefs would speak, and they'd be like, Sauvignon, butter sauce. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's fancy. Then I learned, dude, it's wine and butter. But they're speaking in French, so it sounds all fancy, right? That's all that is. You know, or they're speaking Spanish or something like that. Oh, you got onions already. That's already cut up for me. Awesome. Appreciate it. And when we serve, I'm going to have my two lovely assistants from, I think, Parker and Craig. Did I say that right? Okay, good. Woohoo! There you go. Carter. What did I say? Craig. Where did I get Carter from? Craig. Oh, Craig and Parker. Carter. I get it. I get it. It all makes sense now. So this is actually Polish sausage, so it has no spice, so I'm going to jazz it up a little bit with the New Orleans Ace Champion spice. Give that a nice little mix. And I would definitely recommend, if you're not a guru in the kitchen, use non-stick. Stainless steel is unforgiving, especially if you're pan frying something on a high heat. It will burn up on you just like that. And the pot set does matter. I used the dollar store blend, $20 pot set for about 10 years. And then when I got a good pot, I was like, oh, that's what it's supposed to taste like. So it matters, the equipment, the knives, it matters. And I don't recommend getting a knife block set because there's always going to be knives in there you never use, right? So just get the knives that you know you're going to use, a good chef knife, maybe a fillet knife if you're going to fillet anything, and you're good. You know, stay away from this little beggar knife. I saw a couple of y'all over there. It's hard to break old habits, I know it is, but you gotta fight through it. So I'm sauteing the sausage. Even though technically the sausage is already smoked, you definitely want to add some flavor. Any questions so far? Besides, do I play for the Packers? No, I don't. Never have. Any questions? Any questions? Any food questions? No? What do I think about cast iron? Cast iron is good. It has a place. Excellent for baking. I used to fry chicken all the time, and then they got electric deep fryers now, so I just put it on 350 and I'm good to go. Excellent with baking cornbread. Anything in the oven is excellent with. If you want to sear something on a high temperature and finish it in the oven, cast iron works really good. I wouldn't recommend making like a delicate sauce in it because it's a little gritty, but yeah, cast iron is good. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am. So, get a professional to do it if you don't know what you're doing. First off. So in every knife block set, they have one of these thingamajiggies. You know that long pole that's in the knife block? Anybody know what this is called? Honing steel. Not a knife sharpener, because if your knife is dull, this will do nothing. This is as you're cutting and you start to realize your knife is getting dull, you run it across. So how you do it is you put it at about a 20-degree angle, you start at the bottom, and you pull it all the way to the top, making sure you get all the blade. And then you go underneath it and you do the same. Don't be like Amon Green on my show and do this. I'm like, turn the blade around, bro. You're not even sharpening it. Make sure you sharpen it, and make sure you go away. Don't try and be fancy and do this. Bad things can happen. So just run it across, and then pay attention. If you want to know if it's sharp, you go this way. So if you go home and you do that way, then don't blame it on me. And you'll be able to tell, because sometimes from here to here will be dull, and that will affect your whole cut. So make sure it's nice and sharp. So that looks like that's done. Electric sharpeners work. Just make sure you get a good quality one, because what an electric sharpener will do is it'll really just burn your blade, you know. I used to use them all the time, and my blade started shrinking. And all of a sudden, it was like a fillet knife. I'm like, oh, that's how they make fillet knives, huh? No, it's not. It's not. So now I'll add in my peppers. Can somebody please get me some rum? Yes. Oh, I know those naughty words in Wisconsin. Yeah, I won. My man was saying, you know, I won a couple awards. 19, by the way, I'm just saying, you know, I'm bragging. And one of the ones was a dessert competition. So I went up against 12 of the baddest chefs, all in dessert. And I made New Orleans bread pudding with a whiskey cream sauce, right? But here's the funny part. They say, well, what are you making? I say, New Orleans bread pudding. As soon as I said whiskey, oh my God, did he just say whiskey? They literally were like on the floor, like, come try his whiskey sauce. I'm like, it's bread pudding. The whiskey sauce is the topping. So if you guys watch my show, you'll notice I cook with a lot of liquor, wine or liquor. That's kind of like my niche, which just happens to fit very well in Wisconsin. So I'm going to season that really well, because when I'm seasoning, I always want to make sure to season every element of it. If I'm making fried chicken, I season the chicken, I season the egg wash, and I season the flour. Get full flavor. And season it good. Don't be a little one that put a little pinch of salt. And then and pay attention. When someone says, man, your food's pretty bland, don't get all mad and post it on Facebook, stuff like that. Take it into consideration and then change it. Smell good, huh? Can I have that, please? So, and normally when I cook with liquor, I like to use darker liquors. They're a little bit more forgiving. You know, if you put too much in there, it will feel like you're tasting a shot. And, you know, maybe you want that. I don't know. You know. So what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna have, cause I've flambéed 1,000 times. I'm gonna get what was your name again? Sandra. We're gonna get Sandra up here from the Jamesville. Yeah. Okay. I want to make sure I get all my names right. Jamesville School District. Have you ever flambéed before? No. Okay. First time. So flambé. You ever hear that in New Orleans? It's fancy. It's French. Just means I lit it on fire. That's really all it means. It does. So you're just gonna pour a little bit, do like a Minnesota pour. I always say I said Wisconsin pour one time, and oh my God. No, a Minnesota pour, so probably about a quarter of that. You're gonna pour it in the edge, and then you're literally gonna tilt it into the fire. Boof! No, it ain't gonna do that.
I'll be like Michael Jackson.
No, you ain't gonna be like Michael Jackson. All right. All right, are you left-handed or right-handed? So which hand do you think you should take the skillet with? Wrong. You know why? You always want your dominant hand doing all the work, right? It don't take much to do this, right? So use your less dominant hand to pick that up. So you can pick that up. Use your good hand for the booze, right? So grab the booze. Never pour it over an open fire. Lesson learned. Bad things happen. And if you have an electric stove and you have a lighter, light the light first, then bring it in there. If you put it in there and light it, you will get a poof, a big poof. So you're gonna add, so what she's doing, the reason why she's doing that is all the like yummies that are on the bottom from the sauteed sausage and stuff, she's gonna deglaze that. You ever heard that before? Yeah, it's just getting all that flavor in there. So you just add a little bit of that to it, right to the skillet, right now. You got it, girl. All right, I said Minnesota. All right, so tilt it all the way to the front. Nope, this way. So that does that. Hold it over the fire, let it get hot just a little bit. That's the same way I asked one of the kids at Carter to come up and slice something. And this was like Craig, sorry. I'm gonna get it right. He was like 5'11", 290 pounds. He was, I'm like, dude, it's not that serious. So you're gonna tilt that, keep it forward, and you're gonna tilt it right into the flame. Oh my God, no, just kidding. All right, tilt it into the flame. Oh, What's going on? Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
What did I do? I failed.
No, there is no fail. Because whenever you make a mistake, you do it all over again.
Oh my goodness.
Now, we're going to get the flambe right. So pull it away from the stove. What happened was she was so nervous, she was shaking it all. So it got mixed in with all the sausage and stuff. Therefore, it's going to be hard to flambe. So just pour it to the edge. I'm going to hold your hand. A little more? Okay, good. You're good. Now, just pull it over the fire. Just let it get warm a little bit. Let it get warm. We're going to get this. We're going to get this. All right, now tilt it into the fire. There it is. Now give it a nice little shake. There it is. Go ahead, girl. All right. Nice. And can I get my high school assistants up here, please? So then now, yes, give them a hand clap. I taught both of these kids this morning. They were both there, so they all did wonderful. So I'm sorry, guests, this is probably going to be the worst part of your night because I'm going to have to serve these people over here. So if you guys want, oh, my plate's right here. If you just want to stack me 6 plates right there, and then I'm going to have you guys. So now I have it all mixed in together, right? So now I can see, can you guys see that? So now I can see all my peppers. I can see everything's al dente. There's a crunch to it, you know. All right. And then as I put one on, just go ahead and bring it over to the guests. And if you guys have kids at home and you're not teaching them how to cook, shame on you. Okay. Because how else are they going to learn, right? Well, they could watch Cook Like a Champion. I'm just saying, you know. And don't worry, Superintendent and Denise, I saved a little bit for you, so we're all good. There you go. Who? No. I know. Make sure you cut that out when I air this. She, I know everyone thinks she did. My mom had me in the kitchen doing the dirt work, peeling the potatoes, peeling the onions. My mom probably cooked about 6 things throughout my whole life, and it wasn't nothing like this, let me tell you. If it was jambalaya, it was jambalaya minus the chicken, minus the sausage, minus the peppers and all the other good stuff. So it was just rice. Just rice. That's right. You know, and when you're growing up, you know, you don't tell, you know, a Louisiana woman that that's not good enough unless you want to get your mouth smacked. So I ate it and I liked it. My inspiration for cooking came with my first job. I worked at a truck stop, and the chef, I asked him to make my lunch, and he said, no, you're gonna make your own lunch. And I had that negative attitude and was like, no, I can't do it, it's too hard. And he said, just sit back and watch me for about 30 minutes, learn from what I'm doing, and then we'll see afterwards. I was blown away that one guy was literally cooking for a packed house of like 30 people. All his tickets were coming out in like 10 minutes. I was like, I wanna do that. So I started to learn, and it was hard at the beginning, but once I learned, the adrenaline rush started coming, and I just loved cooking. Then I got in my 30s, and now I'm in my 40s, and it's like, yeah, I'm not trying to really work every Saturday and Sunday, so now I just go into Packers' homes and cook dinner for them. There you go. Which a lot of them, the funny thing about the Packer players is I'm a personal chef. So a personal chef, I go into their home, I cook one meal, you pay me my money and I'm gone. A personal, private chef, you're there 5 days a week, you're living in their outhouse like Mr. Belvedere. You guys remember Mr. Belvedere? I'm like, I am not your butler. Like, I'm a Packer fan, but it's not that serious. I'm sorry. Not at all. All right. Any questions so far? No? You guys still mad? Will one of you guys just run downstairs and just ask them to give me a skillet that looks just like that? Actually, 2 skillets. She got it. You got it? All right. You know what that looks like? All right, good. And then we'll get started. So the next one that I'm going to do is the Caribbean glazed carrots. Oh, now I need you to do me one favor. Go downstairs with her and tell them they ain't give me no carrots for my Caribbean glazed carrots.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Oh my goodness. See, what did I do wrong? I should have had my mise en place, right? Yeah, I know. Practice what you preach, Ace. Any questions so far why they're going to go get that? No? Amon Green, hands down. If you see him, me and him, I really have a strong connection with him because my first cooking show, actually, I now have my own studio, but season 1, I had no studio, I had no kitchen. People would not let me in their house. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'll come into your house, I'll cook for you. They like, you're not a Packer player, so you ain't coming in my house. I'm like, whatever. And I did the Amon Green Foundation, and I donated a cookbook. And his wife came in, and I just threw it out there. I'm like, you think your husband would mind if I come into your kitchen and cook an episode? She calls him up. All of a sudden, 30 minutes later, Amon Green comes walking through the door. And this was at Cook's Corner. I was just got done teaching a cooking class. And of course, I'm walking with him. He's behind me, right? And everyone's like, so I'm like, dude, y'all know me. Why y'all looking at me like that? I'm not realizing he's behind me, right? So he comes out, and I just said, hey, you mind me cooking? But before you answer that, let me give you some of this pork tenderloin with a mushroom port wine sauce. I was smart. So he ate it up, and he actually is from New Orleans. We're actually so close in age. We're only 2 months apart. We sat there and talked for probably 2 hours. Like literally they had to kick us out of Cook's Corner. And then not even 3 weeks later, I was in his home. I was filming my first episode in season 1. So how cool was that? I get to start off my own cooking show in a Packer player with the all-time leading rusher. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool, yes. Right. So for the Caribbean glazed carrots, oh, sorry, I forgot to put the onions in there. Sorry. Anybody want a little sprinkle? No? Always something, right? But it's how you respond to it, right? You say, I just laugh it off. Oh, well, I did that before I made a chicken Alfredo soup. With both, I know. She's like, no way, yeah. Because you got to be different. And I get to the class, these people are like 3/4 of the way through, and I go, wait! I didn't put the chicken in there. So now they got a bowl with chicken with just a little bit of sauce on there. It was not good. But they ate it and they were happy about it. You know, it's Wisconsin. You know, like, all right, as long as you put some cheese in there, I'm all good, right? All right, they're gonna be coming any minute now. I would do or should I just do the bananas spot? We'll just do oh, no, here they come, here they come. All right, yeah. See, it's very important to train these kids, right? Gonna need somebody to take care of you when you get up there in that age. Oh yeah. All right, all right. Oh, I took all the pots, that's what they said? They told me they had unlimited amounts of pot. All right, I'll take this one. All right, all right. I'll take the carrots. All right, so we're making Caribbean glazed carrots. So the first thing we want to do, sorry, excuse me. I know I got some water in here. Sorry, I only had one beer, you guys. So. It was a big one. It was a big one. So the first thing we want to do with this Bananas Foster, or not Bananas Foster, sorry, the Caribbean glaze is you want to build the caramel sauce. So you'll notice that the recipe for Bananas Fosters in this recipe is pretty close. And that's good because when I teach people, I like to teach them how they can take one recipe and infuse it into another recipe. Like my bread pudding. You got regular bread pudding. Then I put a quarter cup of chocolate chips in there. Now I got chocolate bread pudding. Instead of a whiskey sauce, I use rum and I put butterscotch. Now I have a butterscotch rum sauce. So there's endless amounts if you think instead of having to reinvent the wheel every time you create a new recipe. Because I know that's pretty tough that every time you go in the kitchen you feel like you're starting all over again. So the first thing you want to do is add in some butter. And I'm adding in probably about, I would say this is probably about a stick of butter. Use real butter, please. Don't use, I can't believe it's not butter, because it ain't butter. It's oil. I always cook, good question. She said, do I cook with salted butter? I always cook with salted butter, especially in desserts. Because you know how they always tell you to add a pinch of salt? Just add salt and butter. And you really can't taste the salt in there, so don't worry about it. I mean, if you're a good old Wisconsinite and just give you a butter snack and take a bite out of it, you might taste it. I'm just saying. But just putting it in there, you shouldn't. If you can hand me the brown sugar in there, it's in a bag. Yeah. So to make this sauce, I'm using dark brown sugar. Anybody know why I'm using dark brown sugar? Never heard the saying, darker the berry, the sweeter the juice? No? Y'all ain't never heard that in Janesville? No, that's not true, that's not true. No, sorry, I was fighting myself. Should I go there, Ace? I'm like, just do it. They've been drinking all day, they don't care. They don't care. So you want the dark brown sugar because it is high in molasses. And molasses is, oh, she said that. All right, let's give her a hand clap over there. All right. You want that, and that molasses that's in there is gonna actually be your thickening agent. That's what's gonna help to thicken it up. So we're gonna add in some brown sugar. As you guys see, we don't really measure in Louisiana. I've learned on my cooking show, excuse my French, but I pissed a lot of people off. I got a lot of bad emails. They're like, hey, it's just because you can do it with no measurements. We ain't in Louisiana, we in Wisconsin. We need measurement. Because my grandma used to say, put a pinch of this, a little nug of that, and they were like, what is a nug? I'm like, oh, it's just a little bit. Well, what's a little bit? They don't know. So I have to be in detail when I cook. Even when you guys go online and you check out my website, www.chefchampion.com, you'll see my recipes. I'm in detail. You've ever seen those recipes where they say, put the chicken in the skillet and cook it? What does that mean? And then, you know, Susie goes and grabs, sorry if there's a Susie in the house, but Susie goes and grabs a big old pot, right, for 1 teaspoon of butter and 1 little piece of chicken, and she wonders why it's not working. And then she turns the stove on high, and it's supposed to be on medium. So I have to say, get you a nonstick large skillet, turn it on medium high, let it get hot, then add it on there to that. So now I'm gonna add in the brown sugar, and I'm gonna let that mix up. Oh, how'd you know? It's on now. Y'all better watch out. How cool is my job, right? Try and do that, thank you. Try and do that at a restaurant. Yeah, not gonna work. So the first thing that I should have did was put the rum in there. So we're just gonna let that cook, and we can always add it in, right? Add a little bit of rum. You guys are jealous, aren't you? I know, don't be jealous. I know you guys got an extensive liquor cabinet when you go home. Every private dinner I go to, like, that's why I love Wisconsin, because as soon as I walk through the door, they're like, here you go, Ace. I'm like, you guys might want to wait till I get the first course out the way, you know. I mean, they're feeding me beer, they're trying to make me do shots. I'm like, what are we, back in college? You know what I mean? You guys are like 70 years old, want to do a shot with me, you know? And then they peer pressure me. Come on, Ace, you can take a shot. I'm like, dude, no, I got to cook like for 15 people. Yeah. And you just do that. I would let you shake it, but you're a little young for that, you know. That's all I need. Someone take a picture, it's on the newspaper, you know. Ace let a teenage person flambe. So as you flambeing it, you know, get your nice drink, right? Perfect. And then I'm gonna pour that right in there. And if you don't want to use liquor, then don't make this dish, because it ain't gonna taste as good. Just saying. I know, you're in Wisconsin. It's like, is there ever too much cheese? Yes. Yes, there is a such thing as too much butter. Follow the recipe. You can always add a little bit butter if you don't have enough, but it's kind of hard to take it out once it's in there, you know. I'm gonna add just a little bit more sugar in there. Don't worry, brown sugar is actually gluten-free. Yeah, my gluten-free people over there, yeah. All right. And I always tell people, did I just put a cup of sugar in there? Yeah, but I'm feeding 6 people, right? So really, if you do the math, it's really not that much, and it's all natural. Kind of, sort of. It's natural, right? What I mean is it's not the fake sugars. We all know the fake sugars, high fructose corn syrup, sodium benzoate. aspartame, and they get you because they say 0 calories, right? I'm like, when they tell me that, I say, dude, come on now. Chemicals don't have calories. I get that. Let me give you some antifreeze. Tell me how many calories are in antifreeze, right? 0 calories. Now eat this. And then they don't want it. So I'd rather have a few extra calories than a chemical-based product going through my body. Thank you. Thank you. So if you guys can see, it's actually foaming now because they got the VIP table. I come over here and show you guys. You see how it's actually foaming? That's what you're looking for. And this is a caramel sauce, so you can use it for, man, anything. If I wanted to make bourbon pecan chicken, fry me up a spicy piece of chicken over here, throw some pecans in there, pour it over my chicken. Now I have the spicy and sweet working together. You guys cover your ears real quick. Cover your ears, yeah. If you're at home and you're with your honey, you can pour it over here. Did you get it? Say it. Say it. Hey, but cheers to that, right? But note to self, cool it off first. You go into the hospital with 3rd-degree burns and be like, what happened to you? You don't want to know. We tried something new that Ace told us to do. No, I told you to cool it off. So we're gonna slice this, and we're gonna slice this at a bias so that we get nice long strips. Because if we just cut it like this, there's nothing beautiful about that. Like, what is that? Like, get that out of here, And as that's cooking, that's boiling, know that caramel, the longer you cook it, the thicker it would get. This is actually how, if you guys ever heard of pralines, this candy, pour pecans on a parchment paper, drizzle some of that over it, put it back in the refrigerator, let it get nice and hard overnight, and you got homemade candy. No artificial flavors, just pure sugar, pure Wisconsin butter, and good old rum, right? Can you go wrong with that? That's right. So what I'm going to do too is add some Caribbean spice, or Jamaican jerk to that. And Jamaican jerk has a little bit of a spice. Jamaican jerk is kind of like the Jamaican version of Cajun season, if I said. And I love using seasoned blends because it has all the spices that I would normally want to use anyway. Your garlic powder, your onion powder, your paprika, all of those great things. Those are all great. Turn that down a little bit low. And then we'll add in the rest of these carrots. Any questions so far? No? Why do it's just a habit. And to be honest with you, I didn't bring an extra spoon over here. So I was just like, just go with it, Ace. But you can, when you're making the sauce, use a whisk because you want to make sure that it's all mixed in really, really well and incorporate it nicely. But once you get it all in there, yeah, use a spoon. It'll be your friend. Don't be like me and tell you to do one thing and do. I feel like I'm that parent that say, don't do what I do, but do what I tell you not to do, or whatever that means. Like, I have my kids, but I saw you do it, Dad. I'm like, but you don't pay no bills neither, so you can't do what I do. They're like, I thought you said live by example, Dad. I'm like, oh yeah, you got me there. I did say that. So I'll just take the carrots and we'll toss that in there, like so. And then I'm just gonna keep tossing it. So now I'm looking at it, I'm paying attention to what I'm cooking, and I'm like, it looks a little bit thick. I can either add some more butter or I can add some more liquor. That's totally up to you. But we're gonna add in some butter. I'm gonna take the skin off, I did that before in a class, and oh, there's my spoon right there. They were not happy, And as that butter's melting down, I'm cooking it. Oh, what the heck? If I put some more in these. Yeah, I know. Only in Wisconsin you get a hand clap for putting more rum in something, right? And butter too. When I told people at butter, they're like, I'm like, really? You guys clap for butter? That's pretty cool. Yeah. And so these you can make ahead of time too as well. Make them ahead of time. Put them on a sheet pan, put them in the refrigerator, and then when your guests are coming, throw it in the oven at 300 degrees. I always use a low 300 degrees. Even with chicken, anybody ever cook boneless, skinless chicken breast? Trying to be healthy, right? Take the skin off, no bone in it, so it's gonna get dry. So I learned a technique in culinary art school called pan-searing. You ever heard of it before? So I line the bottom of the pan with oil. I season my chicken breast really well, Champion's New Orleans blend, and then Italian seasoning because that dry herb is gonna help get that caramelized crust on there. Then I basically I'm frying it on both sides. Then I take it out, and I never knew this going to culinary art school. I always thought that I had to have the chicken ready literally when the guests are ready to eat, right? Very, very hard to do, but you don't. I call this, excuse me, that's the beer. I call this putting your food to sleep. So after you fry the chicken, you put it on a sheet pan and you put it in the refrigerator. Once it cools off completely, put saran wrap over it. Don't put saran wrap over it right away because what happens? It's gonna wanna steam and overcook. Because in theory, that chicken is still 50% not cooked all the way. It's gonna look very good, so you Wisconsinites, don't be tempted. I know you guys, sometimes you will get sick and you might die, I'm just saying. So don't taste it. This is not the point. Then you would put it in the refrigerator, and then as your guests are coming, say you got 30 minutes before they're ready to eat, then you just put it in the oven at 300 degrees and it finishes cooking. So as long as you don't cook it past that 50%, literally the chicken, even though it's not alive, but the chicken doesn't know that it stopped the cooking process. And it literally picks up right where it left off. Now, if you cook the chicken 100% all the way through, and then you refrigerate it, it's gonna taste like leftover chicken. So that's how, when I was in culinary art school, we were able to cook for 150 people and have steaks all come out at medium. We weren't sitting there searing them all at once. We seared them like 5 hours ahead of time. So that's how you're able to cook for a lot of people. So, capiche? I know, mind-blowing, huh? So it looks like that's done. I'll take some plates. Just lay them all 6 of them up there. Yeah, and even if you got little kids, and my goodness, even if you got little kids, just get them in the kitchen. Like my kids now, they're pretty good. Like they can make chicken, they can make, my son's a master baker, he's 18 years old, and he's autistic. He's like, how you gonna show me up? You know what I mean? Like he shows me up. Get them in there, have them watch you, have them hand you something or do something that helps spark the passion for cooking, even though they're not cooking or anything like that. I remember when I cooked, you guys know who AJ Hawk is, right? So I'm in his house, I'm cooking. He's got his little 2-year-old daughter. He's like, my daughter wants to cook for you. They're always so scared to bring their kids around me, like I'm Chef Ramsay. I'm like, I ain't gonna curse them out. Don't worry about it. I'm used to it. And she wanted so bad to cook with me. So I had her go get her little Suzy Maker knife kit. It was all plastic, right? She's cutting the potatoes. She's just so happy, right? And now she's probably a good cook. I don't know, but I taught her, so she's probably a good cook. I'm just saying. Yeah. So get them in there and do something. Even if you're not a good cook, I always hear parents say that, well, how am I going to teach my kids and I'm not a good cook? Well, you can watch the Chef Champion cooking show. Just saying. There's never an excuse, though. I mean, we tell our kids all the time, right, there's no excuse, and then we have the nerve to make up 100 excuses why we can't cook. You know, I don't have time. I always hear that. I don't have time. But we make time to do what we want when we want to do it, right? But we don't have time to make a homemade meal once a week. You know, once a week is good, you know. So I have a little bit left over, but don't worry, I told you guys what to do with that later. So we're all good, right? No one remembered that one, huh? Y'all remember what to do with the leftover caramel? You guys want me to say it again. You ain't tricking me in that. Let's let it cool first. And then you have, so you got the spiciness in the Jamaican jerk. You have the sweetness in the sauce, and then the carrots carry a kind of an earthy flavor. And then this is the way to, I mean, when I make this for my kids, you know, I don't put the rum in it, or at least I can't say it on TV. Hey, this is Wisconsin, right? I heard that when I came out here, I'm like, do you know the law? You can bring your kid into a bar and have a drink with them. I'm like, shut up. There's no way, right? Because Louisiana, you will go to jail and be on the news. Not NBC, though. That's all right. We gotta go there. Yeah, Wisconsin's got some pretty cool laws. Yeah. All right. If you guys want to hand those out, that'd be great. Normally you wouldn't do a dinner like this, so please don't make a dinner for someone and send them a plate of just carrots. They might get mad. You know, they just might.
Have you ever cooked for Clay Matthews?
No, he's elusive. Him and Aaron Rodgers I'm like, where are you guys? Like, come on. Oh, you know, if I did, I'd be posting it. He'd be on my show. Yeah, I was hoping, my vision was, I'll cook for one, they'll be at practice and be like, hey, let me tell you about that Ace Champion guy. Yeah, no. No, they don't advertise anything like that, you know. Most of the Packer players I cooked for kind of just fell in my lap. You know, I didn't you don't walk into Lambeau Field and be like, I would like to cook for Aaron Rodgers. It just doesn't work that way. You know, you just do it through acquaintance. Like I said, I do a ton of charity events. I used to do the House of Hope every year, and that was the one Mike Daniels ran. So he'd have all the different Packer players there. So, you know, I'm slipping them my card. I'm like, I know you guys want something more than cheese. Right? No, I'm just kidding. I know you guys cook more than cheese. I love Wisconsin. I'm like that 70s show. I really do love Wisconsin. I do. Great opportunity. I'll drink to that, right? Any questions so far? Now is the time. Like I told the high school students, don't wait till you get home and then try and text me at 2 o'clock in the morning. Oh, Ace, I got a question. No. Now is the time. It can be anything. I don't care. It can be about me. I'll get to you right next. Yes, ma'am. No, go ahead.
I'd like to know what their favorite part of working with you was today.
Oh, that's a doggone cool. Make sure you guys get that on record, too. Hopefully they don't say nothing bad, you know. There is no favorite part, Ace. You made me work. So this young lady would like to know, what's your most favorite part of working with me? Talking it right there. Make sure everyone hears you.
I think my favorite part of working with Ace is that he just wants to make everyone happy, and he wants everyone to have a good time. So that'd be my favorite part.
Hey, I'll take that all day long. All day long. And how old are you? 16 years old. All right, are you ready? All right, don't bash me now. All right, you can do it. You can do it. It's just a microphone. Just act like they're not even there. Don't look at her, you guys. You're making her nervous. All right.
I think my favorite part is he's a really great guy, but I also really liked eating the food.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Thank you. I'll drink to that. I'll drink to that. All right. So now the last thing that we're going to be demoing is, anybody ever had Bananas Fosters before? Couple people? Oh, yeah. Where'd you have it at?
Last night at our paper chef meeting. At our team meeting.
Oh, somebody must have made that because you didn't get the. Oh, shut the front door. All right. Normally people are like, what's a Banana Foster? I'm like I said, Bananas Fosters is that homemade caramel sauce. Oh, there's my banana liqueur. I think I have enough rum. Ooh, just a little bit. Yeah, because remember, we had to do it twice over here, so I was just saying, I wasn't planning on that, you know. So, no, I don't do it, Ace. I almost poured that in my beer. You guys ever poured alcohol in your beer before? Yep. No? What about your wine? Yep. That's one strong wine, yeah. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I use, this is called banana liqueur. Our fancy French word is creme de la banana. It's basically a vanilla extract, if I were to put that in simple terms. So it's going to give it banana flavor. Do you need to use this? No, because we're going to be adding bananas in it too as well anyway. What I found about this caramel sauce, literally you can play around with the different ingredients. You can use rum, you can use whiskey, you can use wine, only if it's champion wine, just saying. If you want it to come out right, you know, you can use a whole slew of different things. When I made this version for kids, I used applesauce, you know, not applesauce, apple juice, you know. So just as long as you have a liquid in there, and just make sure your ratios, play around with it. If you ever feel like it's too loose, you know, add in more sugar. If it ever feels like it's too thick, then add in more butter or more rum. Don't add in too much banana liqueur, because banana liqueur is super strong. It's basically like if you added in almond extract, it's gonna like take over the whole flavor. So traditionally in Louisiana, and this is why I love being a chef or cook, whatever you want to be, is you get these recipes. Ooh, you even gave me a little extra. Nice. You get these recipes, and you literally, some people follow them to the T. You guys know a recipe is just a template. It is not meant for you to follow it literally, because a lot of the recipes online are not very good. Who's ever downloaded a recipe before and it sucked? And then you get all mad at yourself, and you post on Facebook, oh, my cooking is bad and all that stuff, right? And it's not even your fault. That's why I do a technique called recipe research. So if I'm looking for a Cajun recipe, Siri is very picky with what you say. So I say, find Cajun jambalaya. I don't say jambalaya because then I get Oshkosh or Green Bay's jambalaya. Not bash, I'm just saying it's different. It's just different. Or you get bread pudding with Wonder Bread slices and vanilla pudding. That is not bread pudding, let me tell you. And then you serve that to your guests because everyone's saying they love bread pudding, you know. So, that ever happened to you before? Oh yeah, it was at a buffet and I'm like, yeah, this is not it. It's not even close. So if I'm doing Italian, I find Italian lasagna and it will give you a lot of them. And then I do what they call recipe research. Say it with me. Recipe research. So I research multiple recipes because in theory, we're all natural born creators anyway, right? So when we create our own recipe by taking a little bit of this, a little bit of that, oh, I don't like mushrooms, so I'm gonna take that out. I like more rum, so I'm gonna put more in, you know, stuff like that. You feel good because you only have to change the recipe 10% and it's actually yours. I've been doing that a long time. Just don't take my recipes and be like, oh, Ace, I put some raisins in there and no, it's so play around with. So traditional Bananas Foster, they put the butter in first, then they put in the brown sugar, then they put in the bananas, then they flambe it, and then they cook it down. Well, what's the problem with that? There's multiple problems with that. One, the more you cook butter, bad things happen. Butter breaks, butter browns. I learned in college that butter is at its best, and I know all you butter lovers are just waiting on this tip. Butter is best when it's at its right melting, at its creamiest texture is right when it's melting, not when I've cooked it for 5 minutes long. They call that brown butter, and that's a whole nother story. You know, so that was the first thing they did wrong. The second thing they did wrong, and this is like 99.9% of the recipes you would get in Louisiana do it this way. No one ever has thought to tweak it a little bit. So then they put the bananas in, and then they flambe it. Well, what's wrong with that? Right, bananas are already soft. You don't need to be cooking it. So what I learned is put the sugar in first, put the liquor, flambe it, let your caramel develop. And then at the last point, cut your bananas in, toss them in quick, and you're done. That way your bananas stay nice and tender, and they're not overcooked, and your butter is nice and creamy, right? So what's the first thing we want to do? Adding in a little bit of this good old, this is Janesville. Doesn't Janesville make a whiskey? Or is that? Beer. Okay. Okay, lots of beer. So I'm going to add in probably about, I don't know, I got to save some for me. I'd probably add in, if I were going to say, I'd probably add in about a half a cup. Whiskey works excellent with this caramel sauce. I love using whiskey, you know. Any bourbon lovers in the house? I bet you there's more than that. Bourbon lovers on a Saturday. I know it's Thursday. They're like, oh, it's Thursday. I know. So we go. So now I have that going. And in New Orleans, when they make this, they actually come to your tabletop and they flambe it, and people are like, oh, cool. They're like kids all over. Fire, you know, and bourbon, whoa, you know. Really get that. So get that nice and warm. And then just like the caramel sauce that I made, I'm going to add in some sugar, but always dark brown sugar, right? Why? There you go. Hey, you didn't hear her, but she told it. She told it like it is. Hey, the truth hurts sometimes. You know, I didn't make that up, so don't get mad at me. You know. So I'm going to mix that in, and then now, if you want, oh no, I forgot there's alcohol in that. Never mind. I almost had a high school pouring in liquor again. So you're going to add in just a touch of the creme de la banana. And then we're going to add in some chopped onions. Just saying if you guys are paying attention. Are you guys awake? All right. Huh? You want some onion? Hey, that'd be pretty freaking good though. Caramelized brown sugar rum glazed onions over your steak? Yeah, oh, now you want some now, huh? Yeah. I thought you didn't like that. So if you guys can see now, it's starting to foam. When you see it foaming, you know it's working. They call that, let me see if I can say it right, coagulation. Did I say that right? All right. I'll take that. You should have heard me saying that 12 years ago. So now that that's built, now we can add in some of this delicious Wisconsin butter. Can I get a hand clap for this Wisconsin butter? Good. And I'm probably adding in about that much. Because remember, you can always add in a little bit more. That's why I love cooking. I'm not a baker. Because baker, you have to be exact. Like my son's autism, he's a great baker because, autistic kids are like, nope, gotta be like that. No, I'm like, add some white chocolate chips instead of, no, Dad, there's gotta be dark chocolate chips. Like he's very, very picky. Me, I wanna add some liquor to it, and now my ratio's all messed up and my cake's flattened. I remember, oh my God. So I cooked for AJ Hawk's 30th birthday. For some reason, I cook for a lot of 30th birthdays. Jordy Nelson's 30th too. And, I should have let off with that, right? Yeah, so I cooked for his birthday. Oh man, I just lost my train of thought. Brain gas. Yeah, it happens. Huh? Oh, thank you. Hey, it happens sometimes. It happens. So he wanted so bad for me to make this cake for him, and I'm like, dude, I don't bake cakes, man. I'm telling you. Oh, no, it's up here, all right. I trust you. I'm like, no, dude, you don't get it. Like, I don't think I've ever really baked a cake a day in my life, right? So I go and I do recipe research. I probably spent like 10 hours. I'm like, you can't mess up AJ Hawk's birthday cake, right? Totally botched it. It was drier than a desert storm. I mean, it was so dry. I tried to smother it in this butter sauce that wouldn't it wouldn't mold to the cake. So it's all falling all over the place. And of course he's trying to be nice and going, this is good, Ace. As he's like, so I'm like, never again. I don't care if you're the president of the United States, I ain't cooking a cake for you. I'll go buy one and do like other people do and just say, yeah, I made that, it was good, ain't it? I've had clients do that for me before. A guy wanted me to cook for his wife's whatever anniversary, and he's like, come here, 5 o'clock, cook the meal, and then you can leave. What? Don't you want me to serve it? No, I'll serve it. Come to find out, he tried to make it seem like he did it. I'm like, wow. Thank you. But, I don't care. Give me my money. Do whatever you want to do. Don't bother me at all. I'll drink to that, right? Don't do as I do. Oh, what was that?
I said, so AJ still had you teach his 2-year-old daughter to cook after you ruined his birthday cake?
No, this was before I ruined his birthday cake. Yeah, he got cut after that, So, no, I was so disappointed because they were like, oh yeah, Ace, we're gonna start having you come over weekly. And I was like, this is my first Packer player, so I was so excited. And then I hear the news. I'm like, really? And then even Mike Daniels, I've been trying to cook for him for years through the thing. And he never would have me over his home, never would let me film any episodes. And then his wife called me and was like, I'm not trying to cook for his 30th birthday. I wanted to be special, so come over, Heaven Daniels. So I came over and I cooked, and guess what freaking happened? So I don't think it's my fault, but there's a thing going on. There's 3 Packer players, they're always 30. And I thought about it, and it wasn't me. It was the fact that they were all 30. And 30 is like the new 50 in NFL. So it was just their time. That's my story. And that's what I'm sticking with, Because I've seen a lot of people, they're like, oh, you ain't cooking for me. I might get fired from my job. I'm like, no, you won't. It's all good. So now my caramel is all done. Just be aware that you want to serve this pretty much almost right away. Let it cool off. If you guys would go downstairs and ask them for the pre-scooped ice cream, that'd be great. So with the ice cream, what was that? Oh, nobody? Oh, ma'am, you had a question back there. I forgot to come back to you.
I just wanted to know maybe one or two of the dishes that your kids really want you to prepare.
Whatever I put in their face. I treat my kids the same way my mama treated me. This is not Texas Roadhouse. You don't get to pick up a menu and ask. It's whatever I cook, you eat. Yes. They'll suggest every now and again, they like anything with chicken they really, really like. They love the bread pudding, I'm like, no, you can't have that for dinner, but they love it. Yes, ma'am.
What's the benefit of flambé?
It makes you look so freaking cool. I mean, I'm just keeping it real. I mean, in theory, technically they say it burns the alcohol off, but the longer you cook it, it's going to burn off anyway. And if you want to deglaze the pan, I can deglaze the pan with water if I wanted to. Never use water though. A lot of recipes you get, they'll have you add water. I always substitute chicken broth or wine. Even when you ever heard of a cornstarch slurry, cornstarch and water, they say to thicken up stuff, I use cornstarch and bourbon. Why not? Because you don't want to put something in your dish that's going to take away the flavor. You always want to keep the flavor rolling. So I use something like that. Yes, sir. Then buy a gas stove. No. Hey. Yes. No, if you have an electric stove, use a grill lighter. But remember, light it first, then go into the fire. All right? Or just don't flambe it. You won't be the cool kid in the crowd, but it will still do its job. You don't have to flambe it. It's strictly for show. But good question.
Do we want the bananas? How ripe do you want your bananas?
So good question. How ripe do you want your bananas? You almost want your bananas to where they're slightly green and slightly I don't want to say underdone because it's not cooking, but how would I say underripe? Underripe. Thank you, teachers. Appreciate it. Underripe is the proper terminology. Because if you get them and they're already fully cooked, they're going to be soft and mush before you even take them out of its skin. And you don't want that. Anybody know the proper way to open up a banana? How'd you learn that? The monkeys. I flipped out when I saw that at YouTube. I said for 42 years I've been doing it wrong all my life. And the monkeys are the king of bananas, right? I'm like, if they're doing it that way, I should be doing it that way. So another thing with the ice cream, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, looks like Superintendent and Denise gets an extra one. I don't know how that magically happened. I did ask for 6. But did you go downstairs? No. So what I did, and this is extremely important, I pre-scooped my ice cream, put it in the bowl, and you put it in the freezer, no cover, no nothing. Anybody know why I do that? Because I had a cooking class one day, and I tried to be all fancy and scoop it right out of I don't know why that would be fancy, scooping it out of the tub, So I'm scooping it out the tub, and then 2 minutes later, I'm showing off, and then I pour this hot caramel over this room temperature ice cream. What do you think happened? Milkshake, babe, and not a good milkshake. Yeah, so if you make the ice cream scoop, what happens is it gets nice and hard, so you can pour that caramel over it, and it almost kind of hardens up like that candy. You ever seen caramel that kind of hardens up? And you get I know I'm like teasing you guys. You're like, stop it, Ace. Stop it. So at this point, I would want to taste it. I don't need to taste it because I made it 1,000 times. So we're just going to open up the banana. Wow, I know, like, I know. So another thing in Louisiana, what they do is they cut the bananas like this. And now you end up with one banana piece, right? There's nothing pretty about this little piece of banana, right? Unless you're a monkey, you know what I'm saying? So what I do is 1 banana equals 2 portions. So I slice that banana in half, and then I slice that piece in half. So I end up with 2 half bananas. And then that goes right into my sauce. I'm just gonna turn this on just a tiny bit. Because remember with caramel, the longer you let it sit, the thicker it's going to naturally harden up. I was just recently on Food Network Canada, like literally 4 days ago, and I was doing, I can't say too much. I'm going to have to cut this out probably anyway. But it was a grilling competition, and thank God I didn't do my second recipe, because my second recipe was bourbon pecan chicken. Remember I told you how to put pecans in there, a little marsala wine, pour that over spicy chicken? Well, then it sits for a while. I'm not going to say how long, but it sits. What do you think would have happened? Yeah, And they would have Chef Ramsay'd it on me really, really good. And here I'd be looking like I can't cook on national TV when really it's just the fact that it's caramel. That's what it does, right? So just be cautious when you're cooking. If you can't serve this right away, don't serve it at all, you know? Slice that down. And then if you don't want to use bananas, you can definitely use apples. It's basically like when you're making apple pie, you know? Anybody like French toast? So I make a Bananas Foster's French toast. So what you do is you make the caramel sauce separate, take a piece of French bread, butterfly. You guys know French bread makes the best French toast. I mean, duh, French bread, you know? But I always use Wonder Bread, right? What's up with Wonder Bread? Wonder Bread is not. So you ever make French toast and they end up like little 1-inch pancakes? Just me, huh? No one's admitting to that? Okay, 2 people, thank you. Thank you for admitting to that. That's why you want to use French bread, because French bread is nice and dense, and it will hold its own in there. So what you do is you slice it almost all the way through, leaving it intact, and then you go over the equal inch and slice all the way through so it opens up like a butterfly. Can you guys get that visual with me? And then take you some cream cheese, because we're in Wisconsin, right? You got to put some cream cheese in there. And then you could take the bananas, brown sugar, rum. Oh, no, sorry, I did that backwards. Take the bananas, cream cheese, and rum, mix that up to make a mash. Then you put that into your bread. Then you close it. Then make your regular French toast batter. Throw away the syrup, and then pour your Bananas Foster sauce over that. Yes, that's what you're talking about. Yes, ma'am. I know. I be telling these to my clients, and they're like, Ace, we got an air mattress back here for you if you want to spend a night. I'm like, my king size bed or your air mattress to cook for y'all in the morning? Like, I'm going home, you know. Turn that off. And then the last thing that you can add is just a little bit of cinnamon. I didn't do this, I forgot again. If you flambe it and you sprinkle the cinnamon over it, it creates like sparkles. It's pretty cool, you know. I know I sound like one of them Powerpuff Girls. She sparkles, you know. It's just really cool, you know. And if you're trying to like inspire kids and stuff like that, you do stuff like that in front of them, and they're like, oh wow, that's pretty cool. I don't care what mom says about them, right? Slice that in half. Any questions so far? Yes, ma'am.
Using Texas toast.
Texas toast works really good. If I were going to use any bread, I would use Texas toast. Good question.
Otherwise, like a French cinnamon bread,
Just French bread, because you're adding all your spices to the sauce, and you're going to add cinnamon to your batter anyway, you know. If you want to get creative, you can even use raisin bread, you know. Get very creative with bread. When I did the grilled cheese championship, I did the one that was on the Today Show, grilled cheese mac and cheese, and you should have saw people. Like, people are so nasty sometimes. They're like, oh, you're so weird, Ace. I'm like, dude, weird is cool these days. So you're weird because you're not weird, you know, I tell them. So basically, when I make my mac and cheese, you guys like mac and cheese? Okay, make sure I tell you. So I'm going to share this with you. So traditionally, mac and cheese, everyone uses elbow noodles. I'm like, come on now, it's 2019. There's like 1,000 different pastas you can use. So throw away the elbow noodles. I use rigatoni noodles because they're nice and firm. They got the little hole pockets in the middle so the cheese gets all up in there, makes it nice and gooey. And then when you cook the pasta, undercook it and taste it, because if you cook pasta 100% all the way through and then you let it sit, it doesn't always come out mushy. If you serve mushy pasta, I don't care how good your sauce is, it will be gross. I'm sorry. And don't get mad if someone says your pasta's mushy, because it's mushy. It's just not good. So the cheese sauce, I learned this at a restaurant because my concept is if I cook the pasta all the way done, and then I have the nerve to put all these ingredients, then I put it in the oven for 40 more minutes, I'm like cooking the cook out of that. You got kids behind you. So I'm overcooking it. So I make everything in the skillet. I don't even turn the oven on. So I start off with my vodka, because vodka and whipping cream go hand in hand. She's like, yeah, vodka. Yeah. So you add in your vodka, you add in your cream. Once it starts to come to a light boil, I add in my New Orleans Aces seasoning, whatever little spices you want to add to it, and you just start adding cheese to it. And you add in the shredded cheese. Use a good Wisconsin cheese, and you just keep adding the cheese and mixing it up until it becomes a nice cheese sauce. That's it. And then you take those rigatoni noodles, you toss them in the cheese sauce, you pour them in your bowl, put a little bit more cheese because we're in Wisconsin, right? And then put a little more cheese on there, and then you're good to go. And it actually eats like a cheesy pasta almost. So for the competition, I made this, and then I put it on parchment paper, and I made it the exact size of the bread. And then I refrigerated it, so that way it all got hard, it all molds together. And then on my butter, I made like an Italian spicy infused butter, just with Italian seasoning butter, made it all fancy. And then I grilled that off, and then I added salsa jack cheese to the bread, and then that mac and cheese on top of that, and then salsa jack cheese on top of it. So now I had a mixture of regular melted cheese and like a cheese sauce too as well. And it eats like a manwich. You guys remember the manwiches back in the day? Yeah. I try to tell that to the young kids. They're like, what's a manwich? So now I have my, Bananas Foster's? Oh, that one? Yes, it is. It is. In the cookbooks, that recipe is in there, along with the video link and all the little footage and stuff, because we recorded that episode too as well. That was in Dodgeville, Wisconsin. So have anybody ever been to Dodgeville? Yeah, you think Green Bay is serious about their cheese. They were not messing around in Dodgeville. I came up there, and it was probably, I would say, at least 30 of the top creameries in Wisconsin. They had probably about 100 people competing. You ever saw MMA fighting before? They had us in like a little cage. They literally had bleachers all the way around me, and people were like, go, go, go. I'm like, wow, you guys are like serious about your cheese out here, And we had 15 seconds. Kyle Cheek from Wisconsin Foodie, he was the master ceremony that night, and we just went head to head, and then they went and they judged it and everything like that. So I was able to get first place on the main competition. That made me the champion. Thank you. Thank you. I'll put a little rum on there just because you guys are clapping. There you go, just what I'm saying. There you go. And then 2 other awards. I got second place was the grilled mac and cheese. I missed it by 2 points. And then the last one was a dessert version. That was the last heat, and I did an apple pie grilled cheese with a 10-year-old brandy caramel sauce. Same caramel sauce, only I added brandy to it, and then I made basically apple pie and the slices, and I used Havarti cheese to go on that. And I put it on raisin bread, made a little infusion butter, which was just butter, a little bit of a little bit of vanilla extract, and then that made my butter. So really simple. I love using simple ingredients. When I went to culinary art school, they wanted me to use all these exotic ingredients. And I'm like, dude, first of all, you know where you're from? Like, this is Wisconsin. Like, we don't know it's saffron, and I'm not trying to spend $15 on one spice that ends up in the cabinet and I never use it again. That ever happened to anybody before? Yeah, I hate that. I hate that. So you can use cream, butter, liquor, and stuff like that and make something top shelf and not have to sound so fancy. And talk English. Don't think you're better than me because you speak in French. Like, come on now.
When you want a flambe, do you need a certain proof alcohol?
Yes, you need at least 40 proof. Because if you get some of the ones that are only 20 proof, which you shouldn't even have that in your liquor cabinet if you live in Wisconsin. It's like, what a waste of money, right? Like, we drink bourbon for a reason, and it ain't just because bourbon tastes so good. It's the feeling we get after that, right? So yeah, 40 proof. Let it get nice and warm. Like that's 20 proof, it will never flambe. It will never flambe. Good question though. She's like, I need to figure out ways to use my liquor besides in a cocktail glass. So, who's had the hurricanes tonight? Yeah, buddy. So you know why they call them a hurricane, right? So in Louisiana, it's like 130 degrees, and you're out, it's hot, and it drinks like a fruit drink. Like you almost don't even taste the alcohol. And just like a hurricane, out of nowhere, boom, you're out like a light. So if I see anybody laying down up there, I'm like, oh, she had the hurricane. I know. So now that's done, and then we'll just take some of that caramel sauce. Oh man, I'm really using a slotted spoon. Is there a spoon down there that doesn't have a slot in it? I know, I'm like, oh, let me pour some of it. No. Okay, I'll get creative. Uh-huh. Compromise. Always a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. That's so true. I used to hear that when I was a kid, and I was like, oh, yeah, that don't mean nothing. And then I tried it, and it's so true. It's so true. Because everything that I do, all my cooking show, all my products, I told people about this religiously. And it's so funny. They come up to me like, Ace, I can't believe you actually got your own show. I can't believe you. I said, man, I told you that 5 years ago. Like, don't get, just because you didn't believe me, you know. But that's the thing. Most of the time when you're chasing your dreams, most people won't believe you. They'll either laugh at you, make fun of you because they can't do it. You know, I learned that, you're just jealous because you can't do nothing, you know. So look at me now, you know. I know whenever I pour the Bananas Foster, it's like, somebody drop a pin. It never fails. It never fails. So guys or women, when you want to get your other one to shut up, go get the Bananas Foster, and all of a sudden, no one's talking anymore, right? I'm serious. Man, you can get out of the doghouse with Bananas Fosters, I'm telling you. At least until she's done eating, then it's like, oh. There you go. Yeah, make sure you give extra rum. It can go two ways though. They either get extra friendly with the rum or extra mean. Yeah. So it might backfire on you. You know, and I've done this for my wife before, and things were just going great, and all of a sudden things went wrong. I'm like, man, I did all that work for nothing. So you guys can serve that. But you don't cook for people to expect, never cook for anybody and expect anything from it. You cook for somebody because you love them or you like them and you just want to show them a good time. I used to have people cook for me all the time and like, oh, Ace, when are you going to come over and cook for me? I'm like, never now, because don't try and put me under the gun like that. You know, literally, if you're going to do it. And you know, that's the same thing with giving. If you're going to give because it's on your heart, because that's something that you want to do. If you're expecting to give and get something in return, then you're really not giving, right? It's kind of what they call an exchange. I give you something, you give me something. So speaking of giving, so each person on the table has these little cards right here. I wish it really was $100. I'd be taking all the cards, but you can donate. Let's see. I don't have my reading glasses on. I got this floodlight right in front of me. So you can donate $10, gives people 1 grocery bag full of groceries. $50 gives them 5 bags. That's pretty cool. I mean, $10 for a bag of groceries. I don't know where y'all must be shopping at Aldi's or something like that, because no offense, Aldi's on TV. You guys are great. You got good produce now. Oh, you want to do me a favor? Will you take one of these? There's the superintendent over there, and then there's Denise over there, and then, oh man, I want to give them some so bad, but it's got rum in there, and we're on TV. Oh, look, she's raising her hand. Well, how about we auction that off, right, to the highest bidder? Oh yeah. So make sure to save those two. I'll make you guys some later with no rum. You're like, darn. And then 10 bags gives them 100 bags of groceries. I love doing charity events like this. Food is very, very dear to me. Like I said, I grew up with my mom made the same 5 dishes. Some of it wasn't very nutritious. Sometimes it was just hot dogs and pinto beans. Eat this, boy. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put some hot sauce on it or something, And so when I see people that are hungry, and I don't even mean hungry like they don't have no food. I mean hungry like they're just malnutrition, like they're eating boxed food and processed food and stuff like that. You should be able to eat fresh produce and vegetables and stuff like that. So as you guys saw the video, to give this to these people, you're really helping heal the world, because I wish back then someone would have intervened with my mom and been like, Ace, come over here for dinner, let me give you some real food. Make sure we cut that out, because my mom's real sensitive about that stuff. So know that you're not just giving just to give, you know. And I've done probably about 70 charity events. I do about 15 each year, and I am very picky with my charity events. I do not donate to every single charity, especially if I don't know where it's going. I want to see where my money's going. I want to see where my time is going. And 350 bags of groceries, or a week's worth of groceries, that's where you see where your money and where your time is. So feel free to give whatever you can. If it's only $1, thank you for your dollar. Which I know you got more than $1. I saw your cars out there. You know what I mean? No one showed up in a Pinto. You know, oh shoot, I almost forgot my beer. What are you guys doing? Real quick too, I'm just gonna touch bases on a couple of chemicals. I know sometimes people don't want to hear that. You should see people in my classes. They're like kids. I go on and tell them all what they can't eat, and they're mad at me. They're like, Ace, you know, they write me, you know, the little comic cards. Ace, you could have left that little part out. You're a chef, not a speaker or whatever. I'm like, whatever, you know, if you don't like it, it's double door right there, you know. Not you guys, though, because you guys are cool, you know. So when I became a chef, everybody wanted me to put them on a diet. You know, I'm like, I'm not a dietitian. I'm from Louisiana. I fry everything, you know, and people in Wisconsin were getting mad at me. Why you fry everything, Ace? And I'm looking around. I'm like, you got fried cheese, fried donuts, fried this. And they were talking about my fried chicken, and then they have broasted chicken, which I thought broasted chicken was different until I worked in a restaurant. I'm like, dude, that's worse. That's like pressurized fried chicken. Like, you're infusing the grease into that, you know. So I try and eat as healthy as possible. And like I said, like I was telling the kids earlier, healthy doesn't necessarily mean salads and carrots, you know, unless you put some rum and sugar over them, you know. Healthy to me is no processed food. So instead of telling them to go on a low-fat diet, a high-fat diet, don't you need fat, low-calorie diet, well, we die if we don't have calories, you know. All these things are going through your brain, and a lot of people just give up. Because they're like, there's too many, there's literally like 250,000 diets out there. So I say the best diet to go on to is an almost no processed food diet. And I say almost no processed food because I get it. It's very, very hard. So when you're shopping, know that everything in the inside of the grocery store is most likely processed. Everything on the outside is pretty much homemade or you know, made natural. There's a saying, if it's made in a plant, stay away from it. If it comes from a plant, eat as much as you want. You can indulge yourself in really, really good food. So I had to give them a little bit more meat and potatoes, because you guys like the meat and potatoes, I know. I had to give them a little bit more meat because I can't just tell you to stay away from the processed food and not tell you what it is. So I narrowed it down to 5 ingredients. And how I found these ingredients is every time I go to the grocery store, I pick the can or whatever it is up that I want, I turn it around. How many people read ingredients when they're at the grocery store? I said this at the schools, and like literally 75% raised their hand. Either they were lying or trying to impress me or whatever, but I thought that was just cool. I did that with my kids. I'll be like, all right, you go find the peanut butter with no high fructose corn syrup. Boom, they're running to go get it, you know, give them a little challenge. So the 5 things that I say is one of the main reasons why people are so sick. And I know almost 100% that it has anything and everything to do with food. Because if you ever notice, a lot of the diseases that are in the world today, yes, I'm preaching, sister. You better believe it. A lot of the things that are done, a lot of the things that are done today, if you go back to 1920 and 1930, they did not exist. Autism did not exist. ADHD did not exist. Cancer was like 1 in every 100,000, you know. Diabetes, what is that? It did not exist. When I did the math, I'd say it was around the 40s and the 50s after World War II, when, you know, everyone had to work, women had to work, men had to work, so all of a sudden all these fast food places start popping up. Don't worry about it. You guys don't have to worry. We'll cook the food for you, right? No one's telling you what's in this food. And they have the nerve to put all natural. Excuse my French, but that's all natural, right? You guys get what I'm saying? So don't be fooled by the all natural. And some people, what I do is they'll say hard healthy. They'll put a big heart on the box, right? High in iron, high in calorie, no this, no that, right? And then I turn it away and it's like, oh wow, you have all these things in there that cause a lot of these diseases. And the only way I knew about it is I Googled and asked that. Remember I told you about that smart woman, Siri? What does high fructose corn syrup mean? What is this? Is there any side effects? Oh, you know, she'll talk to you. Oh, hey, high fructose corn syrup is this, and the kid, you know, and all that. I'm like, wow. When I learned this, Obama was the president then. I wanted to call the president of the United States. Like, I know why people are sick. I get it. Because I thought, hey, it got past the USDA. It must be okay. There's no way they would be putting poison in there. So now I'm Googling it. I'm like, why is it banned in China? Why is it banned in Costa Rica? Why is it banned in Africa? And they're starving and they don't even want this. Like, why is it banning everyone with this? So I started researching. Like I said, I narrowed them down to 5 ingredients that I can almost, I don't want to promise you because I don't want to say it, but I can almost guarantee you it will change your life. It will change your weight. It will change your mind, because understand that the food that you put in your body does affect your mind. You can be eating Little Debbie snacks and all of a sudden you're depressed and got a bad attitude, and it has nothing to do with your day. It's just because you ate too many Snickers. I'm serious. So the first one, yes, I'm telling you. So the first one is high fructose corn syrup. We heard it. We are in church, sister. We are drinking a beer and having a good time. High fructose corn syrup is one of those fake genetically modified organisms. You ever heard of GMO? GMO means it's fake. It's not meant to go into our body. Anything that's meant to go in our body is grown from the earth. Anything that was born into this earth is meant to go into our bodies. Not HD 4, 5, and 654 all mixed in together to taste like food, because it's not food. They inject high fructose corn syrup in pigs to make them bigger. So what do you think it's doing to us when we're eating it and we're drinking it? It's in your sodas. It's in your ketchup. It's in your peanut butter. It's literally, that's your homework tonight. I know teachers are giving you guys homework. I know, darn. Go through your cabinets, read the ingredients, and just set to the side everything that has high fructose corn syrup in. It's an eye opener. And you know what the crazy thing about it is? It really, if you get one that has no high fructose corn syrup, you're looking at maybe a 30-cent difference. And sometimes the one that doesn't have it is on sale if you're a coupon shopper, and you benefit that. Even if it's not on sale, is it really worth it to buy something that has chemicals in it and you only save 30 cents? We're talking about your life, people. That's how important that is. So get the high fructose corn syrup out your diet. The second fake sugar is aspartame. You ever heard of aspartame? Who drinks diet sodas? And remind me to give you a spanking when you're done. I got some paddles over there. Bad girl, bad. No, I'm just kidding. No, you don't know. I used to drink, when I was in the restaurant, I would sit there and drink 7, 8 sodas, and not even the good sodas, like the syrup one, and thought I was just on cloud 9, and then I crash at night, and then I go back and do it the same thing. So I didn't know neither, That aspartame, to me, is pretty close to arsenic. It's extremely poisonous. The side effects are detrimental. Did I say that word right? Okay, cool, get better. Very, very toxic in your body. So get those two out the way. They get you because they say 0 calories. Calories don't mean anything. You can burn off calories, right? You cannot burn off the chemical. When people tell me that, they say, oh, well, it's only so many ppps per million. They give me that scientific version. I'm like, well, here, try something that's a tablespoon of antifreeze. It's only so many ppps per minute. It might not kill you today. It might take 20 years, but eventually it will catch up to you. So get that out of your diet. The third one is sodium benzoate. Anybody ever heard of sodium benzoate? It's a hidden one in there. If you drink sodas, go home, look at the soda. I can't name no names because I'm on TV. And once you get on TV, everyone wants to sue you. I ain't got no money, Sodium benzoate, when I first studied that, it said, oh, it's okay. Not going to cause anything, but you always got to go deeper down the rabbit hole. That's why I say research multiple things. So I'm researching. If sodium benzoate comes into contact with citric acid, it mutates into benzene. You ever heard of benzene? Benzene is a natural cancer carcinogen, clinically proven on all levels, even in America, that it clinically causes cancer, leukemia, diabetes, a whole slew of problems. And it causes depression. And here's the kicker. Sodium benzoate is not only in your food. If you look at your cosmetics, it's in your lotion. It's in your hairspray. So, Bob might have an attitude because he put on the wrong lotion that morning, literally. Now, Bob, don't go using that as an excuse, for being mean. Sodium benzoate is clinically proven to cause depression. It literally is, and that's what I'm telling you. The food really does not just affect your body. It affects your mind. And if your mind is gone, you've literally lost the good fight, right? So that's 4. So the 5th one is all the dyes that are in food. You guys see it, right? Yellow 5 dye, blue 6, green 2. I used to think that was food coloring, right? It's got to be food coloring. That must be the number on the assembly line, right? No. When you do the research, it's more closer to the food dye that we put on our clothes than it is the food dye that we put in our bodies. You know what the number one side effect, and I know I'm guilty of it, you know, I'm not going to say the name, but it starts with a M, and every little one of those little sugar-coated delicious pieces, right, has a color to it, right? Yellow, green, you know, colors of the rainbow, looks very good. That's all fake dye. You know what the number one side effect, especially in kids, and too many dyes in food? ADHD. Another one, clinically proven to cause ADHD. So, don't get me wrong, ADHD is a real thing. So is autism, so is every other thing. But your body is meant to heal itself. So I believe if you put the right food in your body and you have the right diet, you can actually reverse the effects that food has done for you. You cannot put a pill in your body to help ADHD, which in reality, you know that the pill's not healing you. It's just kind of subsiding your problem. You have to fix the core problem. Don't put a Band-Aid on things. Fix the core problem. So don't give little Jimmy, I'm just saying, I hope there's no kids with name Jimmy. I'm not bashing your kids, not like that. Don't give little Jimmy a pill and then feel bad because you're a parent and give little Jimmy this box of those M's. You know what I'm saying? Because you're defeating the whole purpose. Stop giving him the sugar, let him cry. My son, that's autism, he would literally lay on the grocery store floor if he couldn't get his sugary sodas and all these other things, and I stopped doing it, and literally he went from not being able to speak, he went from throwing temper tantrums. Now I can call him up and he's like, hey Dad, how's it going? I'm like, oh, who are you? You know? He's been on my cooking show, which food is therapy. He has a severe stuttering problem. And first season I got him on my cooking show, he was 14 years old. He jumps up there and goes, hello America, today I'm gonna show you how to make chicken bourbon. I'm like, what the heck is going on over here? I thought you had a starling. But that let me know that diet changed him and food was an actual therapy. But be smart. If kids don't like vegetables, put it in a different form, because presentation is everything, right? So what I did with those carrots is I juiced them. Now it's just orange juice, right? You know? And he drank it. So now in that one shot, I just got him to eat 2 carrots, you know? So be creative. Don't just take for granted when your kids say, I don't like this. Make them eat it. Like my mom would be like, oh, you don't want to eat it? Start taking that belt off. Oh yeah, it looks really good, Mom. You know, I'm not saying threaten them, you know, unless you have to, you know, because it's 2019, kids are rough these days. But no, huh?
Belt against Wally.
Yeah, I know. But just incorporate that to your diet. Don't tell yourself what you can't have. That's the best diet and best advice I can give you. As soon as you say, what's your name? Penny. As soon as Penny says, I can no longer have that sugary ho-ho snack, right? What's going to happen? A battle's going to start in Penny's mind. So every night, Penny's going to be thinking of what she told herself she cannot have, right? So what Penny needs to do, and I'm just using you as an example, what Penny needs to do is start incorporating things in her body that are healthy for her. And eventually, that healthiness and that good food will take away the urge and the craving for the bad food. When I eat bad food now, as soon as I eat it, I feel sick. I'm like, oh, it can taste the grease in that. It doesn't taste any good. 10 years ago, I thought it was the best thing next to sliced bread, you know? So introduce good things in your body and eventually the bad things go. That's the same thing with your mindset. When I told you about the law of attraction, if you keep putting positive thoughts in your brain, eventually it will counteract all the negative thoughts in your brain and you'll start to actually live your life. Because we only get one shot at life, right? Unless anybody immortal in this place, if you are, give me the pill or the flower or whatever it might be. Because I want to live forever. I want to live as long as I can, right? So you have to be an adult about it, be smart about it. Do what you can. Don't make up an excuse why you're not cooking, because like I said, there's always an excuse somewhere. So put the excuses behind, be an adult, show these kids, live by example like I do. So that's my story, and that's what I'm going with. Okay.